When it comes to software, we often feel torn between great internal systems and delivering a great client experience. But what if I told you there's a way to achieve both? The secret to scaling your service business isn't picking the perfect tool. It's building systems that integrate your tools so they work together seamlessly. If this is our first time meeting, welcome. I'm Chloe, a certified Notion consultant and assembly expert. And in this video, I'm going to share 3 Zapier automations that help you integrate Notion and assembly so that you can maintain Notion as your internal operating system while reaping all of the benefits of an assembly client portal. And don't worry, you don't need to spend hours configuring complex workflows. We're going to walk through each Zap together, and I've templated everything as a downloadable resource. You can access the link in the description. And stay tuned to the end where I share a bonus automation that allows you to automate most steps in your client's journey, from new lead through to onboarding. We'll be using 3 tools today: Notion, Assembly, and Zapier, and there are a few prerequisites you'll need before we begin. In Notion, you'll need a tasks database, a deals database, a proposals database with a proposal database template set up, and a proposal acceptance database. And on this one, you'll need to configure a form view and set the form permissions to anyone with the link can complete this. In Assembly, you'll need a contract template pre-configured. Again, I've templated all of this and you can access it in the description. It's as simple as clicking duplicate and adding it into your Notion account. I'll also include a full tutorial on setting up your Assembly client portal in 15 minutes. With all of that in place, let's start from the moment a new lead comes in through Notion. So within Notion, you have your deals database. This is where you are tracking your leads. Let's say you have a great sales call with a lead and it's now time to send a proposal. If you are using the template provided, when you click send proposal, there is a database automation set up that will automatically add a new proposal to your proposals database, apply the default template. So all you need to do is open it up, customize a few details to that individual lead, and before you send it off to your client, make sure the send date property is populated and you have that proposal acceptance form embedded. Now you can click share in the top right hand corner, publish, turn off duplicate as a template, copy the link, and then when you follow up with the lead through email, you can share the link to the proposal. Your lead can then review the proposal and complete the form. This is the point our Zapier automations take over. Zap 1 handles the moment a prospect says yes. As soon as a lead accepts your proposal through your Notion form, this automation will immediately create a company in Assembly, set up your client's profile, and then send them an invitation to their portal and a contract for them to sign. Essentially, it handles the onboarding. Now to set this up, we're going to open up our Zapier template. So this is linked as a resource below. And we're going to open up our Zap for proposal accepted in Notion. Click try this app, and this will open up the template in your Zapier account. So our trigger is a new data source in Notion. If we come over to the right, we can see the trigger event is set up. For account, if you haven't already connected your Notion account, click sign in, ensure you are in the right Notion workspace, select pages, and we're going to select our integrations page. You basically want to give access to all of the databases that we're going to be working with. Click allow access. And now that's connected, we'll click continue. And under data source, we want to select our proposal decisions database. Click continue. And in order to test this trigger, I'm just making sure that there is a proposal decision in our database. You can see that we have one here and the proposal is accepted. So now we can test the trigger and you can see that it's pulled that data. So we'll continue to the next step, which is a filter. And under configure and test, we want to say only continue if, and our field is going to be proposal status, and our condition is going to be text exactly matches, and whatever your proposal accepted tag is here, you want to paste that in exactly the same way, accounting for spaces and capitalization. So we'll click continue. That's going to test that out for us. And now we can go ahead and create our company in Assembly. If you haven't already connected Assembly, to do this, click sign in. It will ask for an API key. You can create one by by coming into your Assembly account, clicking on Settings on your navigation, selecting API, Create Key, give it a label, and we'll create key again. And then all we need to do is copy, paste, and continue. And the good news is you only have to connect your account once. So we'll continue. And under name, we want to map the company name to the information in Notion. So we'll click the plus icon, open up our data source in Notion, and we want to find the company name and just click to tag that in. And now that is mapped. So we'll continue, test the step. And now, if we come into our CRM, we can see that Elevate Labs is now being added as a company. Click continue. And now we want to create a client profile to assign to that company. And under configure, we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to map the data. So under email, click the plus icon, open up step 1, find the email, click to map it, and do the same thing for given name. We'll find first name or family name. We'll map last name. And then for company ID, we're going to click on the 3 dots, select custom, and we're pulling this one from step 3. So we'll open up step 3 and we want to pull the ID. Perfect. And what that's going to do is connect the client to the correct company in our CRM. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the option to send an invite. And this is where we can automatically invite our new client into their client portal. So I'll click true, continue. We'll test that out. We can see Elevate Labs now has a client assigned. If we click on clients, we can see Levi Tate has been added. She is connected to her correct company. Her status is inactive because she hasn't activated her portal yet, but she has been sent the invite. And now our final step is to send her a contract. So we'll click continue. Action event is to create contract. Under configure, where it says contract template ID, we're going to click in and choose the correct contract that we've already set up. Skip recipient, and then for client ID, we're going to click the 3 dots, select custom, find our client step, which is step 4, and then grab the ID from here, click to map it, and then do the same for company. So click the 3 dots, select custom, we'll go to step 3, we'll grab the ID, click continue, one final test. And if we come into contracts and look at submissions and requests, we can see that contract has been sent. If we open up Levi's profile, we can see it appear under contracts as well as pending. All that's left to do is hit publish. Now, as soon as a client agrees to your proposal, they will be automatically onboarded into Assembly. No manual work involved. Zap 2 is communicating back to Notion. When a client signs their contract in Assembly, this automation is going to find them in your Notion deals database, update their status to sale closed, and link through to their signed client agreement, keeping your internal systems perfectly in sync. If we come down to the second Zapier template, contract signed in Assembly, we're going to click, select try this app, and now we can configure our settings. So our trigger is going to come from assembly.com. And the event is going to be contract signed. And I can see that Levi has in fact signed her contract. So I can go ahead and test this trigger. We'll continue with our selected record. And then the next step is to find the client that contract belongs to in Assembly. So our action event is to find a client. Under configure, we're going to use the ID to do this. So we'll click on the plus icon and we have a client ID here. So we're going to tag that. That's going to help us identify the client. And then for company ID, we can click the 3 dots, select custom, find company ID, and tag that in there. We'll select false, click continue, test that out. And if we look at the data output, just scrolling down a bit, we can see that it's pulled Levi's information here. So we'll click continue again. And this time we want to find Levi in Notion. So we're connecting to Notion. Our action event is find data source items. Under configure, our data source is going to be our deals database. And you will need to have this lead in your deals database in order for it to be found when we're doing this test. Assuming you've got that set up under data source, you're going to come down to email. Click the plus icon, and under step 2, find a client in Assembly. We're going to map this to the email property. And if you tend to have multiple deals with the same client, you can always click into one of the date properties, for example, initial contact filter, and scroll down to choose an option. So we can say The initial contact was sometime within the past month. Click continue. That has found our record, so we'll click continue again. And our final step is to update that contact in Notion. So we're connected to the Notion app. Our action event is to update data source item. We'll click continue. Where it says data source, again, we want to select our deals database. For the item, we'll click the 3 dots, select custom, and we want to map this to our data source in step 3. So we'll click in, select the ID, and now we can map any updated information. So for signed contract, I'm going to click the plus icon, look to step 1 where we have the contract signed in assembly, and where it says signed file URL, I'm going to tag that URL. So now I have access to that file from Notion. And where it says stage, I'm going to change this to sale closed. Click continue. We'll test that step out. Come back into our deals database and we can see the stage is now sale closed. And if we scroll along, we can see we have a direct link to our signed contract. Now that your clients have completed onboarding, Zap 3 ensures you never miss an important client action or update. Every notification from assembly will automatically be added into your tasks database so that you can manage everything from one central location. This is our third Zap template, add assembly notifications as Notion tasks. So we'll click try this Zap, and that's going to add it into our Zapier account. For this one, our trigger comes from assembly. So the app is assembly. The trigger event is when any notification is created. And I should note that you can get really granular and specific for this. So if you don't want to receive every notification, you can click in here and you can customize it to your preferences. We'll click continue. We're going to skip recipient ID because this is going to account for everyone. We'll test our trigger, and that has pulled Levi signing her contract. So we'll click continue. Now our second step is also in assembly. We want to find the company tied to that notification. So our app is assembly. Our action event is find a company. Under configure, we're going to map the ID from our notification created. So we'll click the plus, find company ID. We'll click continue, test our step, and you can see that's pulled Elevate Labs in our data output. So we'll click continue. And then our third step is to create a data source item. In other words, to create a task in Notion. So we're connected to the Notion app. Our action event is to create a data source item. Under configure, where we have data source, we'll select our tasks database. Of course, if you have a notifications database or a messages database, you can connect it to that instead. Under task, we're going to click the plus icon and we're going to pull from step 1 where the notification was created. I'm going to choose in product title. So you can see this shows that contract has been signed. So I'll tag that in there. And then for company name, I'm going to map that as well. So I'll click the plus icon. This time we're pulling from step 2 and we're pulling the name. I like to include a time, so I'll map that as true. And then for the start date, I'm going to click the plus icon, go to step 1 where the notification was created, scroll down to created date, and I'm going to tag that in there. And then for status, I'm just going to tag it as a notification, which is an option I've included in this setup. If you want to map an assignee, you can. And then we're just going to select continue. We'll test that out. Now, if I open up my tasks database, I have 2 different views here. This first view of tasks is filtered to say only show items where the status is not notification. But in the second view of client notifications, the filter is set to status is notification. And here we can see that the contract has been signed. We can see it's Elevate Labs and it is a notification. And because we included me as an assignee in that Zap setup, I've also got a notification in my Notion inbox. If I click on my inbox now, that is going to show the contract has been signed. I can then click directly in and it will take me to the task. We've largely focused on the onboarding sequence, and for that reason, I want to share an extra bonus zap with you. This bonus zap is going to complete the circle. When someone responds to your proposal, regardless of whether it's a yes or a no, this automation is going to link their decision back to the original proposal in Notion, giving you complete visibility into your proposal success rate. This automation doesn't use assembly, but it does eliminate the only manual task in this process, allowing every step from sending the proposal to initial onboarding to be automated. And so we're going to come into our Zap templates, click on this last one, proposal decision form complete. We'll try this Zap. Our initial trigger app is going to be Notion. The trigger event is a new data source item, and under configure, we want to select the data source proposal decisions. We'll click continue, test out our trigger. That's pulled our Elevate Labs proposal acceptance, so we'll continue with that selected record. And then our next step is to find data source items. So we're again connecting to Notion. We're finding a data source item. And under configure, our data source is going to be our proposals database. So here we want to find the proposal that connects to this one. In order to filter and find the correct one, we're going to search through company name. So we'll click on the plus icon, and from our data source in step 1, we'll find the company name, tag that in there. If you send multiple proposals to clients, you might also want to apply a sent filter. So I'm going to click in here and say past month. So it's going to look for proposals that have been sent in the past month, not all time. And then we're going to map the email as well. So we'll click on the plus icon, go into data source in step 1, find our email property and tag that in, and we'll click continue. Test out our step, and we can see it's found our proposal, so we'll continue. And our final step is to update our proposal. So again, Notion app, our action event is update data source item. Our data source is proposals. And where it says item, we're going to click on the 3 dots, select custom, and we're going to pull from step 2. So under find data source item in step 2, we'll click ID. And then where it says related decision, we want to click on the plus icon, select step 1, and we want to select ID to link the two. Click continue. We'll test that out. If we come back to Notion and open up our proposals and proposal decisions database, we can see this proposal is now connected to the decision in both places. So it's a two-way relation, and that is now connected. Now all you need to do is send the proposal, and every step until onboarding is completed is completely automated. Now, these are just a few ways you can integrate Notion and Assembly. There are so many other possibilities. A great example of how you can integrate two purpose-built tools that are the best at what they do into one cohesive system. This can save you a significant amount of time, money, and sanity. As a reminder, all of these resources are included in the description. I want to take a moment to thank Assembly for sponsoring today's video and making it possible for me to create these resources for you. If you have enjoyed this video and series, please do consider liking and subscribing. And if you have any questions, feedback, or suggestions, leave a comment below and I'll meet you there. If you'd like to continue watching, I recommend this one next.